Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, or do you know what? Whatever time of day it is when you guys are watching. So today I'm going to be giving an alien UFO update, and I'm going to let you guys know that I've identified 3 distinct areas of information release that's being expanded, right? So we've got the satanic groups. You've got those satanic groups, you know, those ones that, enjoy spending time with children. We've got the non-human intelligence, and we've got reptilians. Now, all these things are in that same compass of UFOs, aliens, interdimensional beings. And let me just throw this out there. I don't know if any of this stuff's real. I don't. It's very if someone was to say to me, right, Sean, are aliens real? My response is exactly the same as it's always been. I think it's a mathematical certainty that there is other intelligent life in the universe. It's absolute, anybody who says that it's not, it's absurd, right? The vastness of the cosmos, as our understanding of it is, it would say, yes, absolutely, there is other life out there, right? Whether they've come here on tin cans or not, I'm not convinced, which means they are either operating on unknown physics. If they're operating on unknown physics, what is it? What can we do with it? Does that mean we can get free energy? And if they're not operating on unknown physics, how did they get here? Are they operating interdimensionally, or are they already here, as in underneath the sea, underneath, in Antarctica? And as I've been listening lately, there are several locations around the world that have allegedly, and listen, guys, all this stuff's very difficult for me to digest, but look, it's out there, so I'm going to talk about it. So there are several locations allegedly around the world where UFOs have crashed, and these UFOs, spaceships or whatever, are just too big to move, so the governments have built over them. Crazy stuff, guys. It really is. But I guess it makes sense, right? It makes sense. So what I'm going to be talking about this morning is, it's not even this morning, this afternoon. We're going to be going down that road, and I'm going to be talking about this woman. She's a Republican representative, Anna Paulina Luna. Let me share this with you guys. So she's a Florida congresswoman, and this is an article from August last year. I know it's a little bit old, but listen, I'm playing catch up. Now she says that she's seen, again, this is why I struggle with all this stuff. I've seen this. I've spoken to a whistleblower. I've not seen any evidence of this, guys. All right. So let me be quite clear. I don't know what's happening. All right. What I do know is what I'm going to ground this video in is the facts. The facts are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, actually, if somebody had have told me that there is a secret gang of satanic people who do these really bad things, I would have said to you guys, that is absolutely BS. Not a chance. That's not happening. That I don't believe that. I would have. That's what I would have said. Turns out, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of these conspiracies are becoming truer and truer and truer. Now, when the absolute floodgates have been opened now with UFO disclosure, non-human intelligence, and you cannot not see the connection now with these, the reptilians. So I don't know what's true, but if you're going down that road of all these things are true, you can't not talk about the reptilians, or Draco reptilians. So what I'm going to do is in this live stream, I'm going to talk about this congresswoman, what's her name? Republican Ann Paulina Luna. I'm going to talk about her and what she claims to have seen. I'm then going to tell you guys about this reptilian thing. And look, guys, I want to be very clear. A lot of this stuff is very difficult for me to digest. However, when you're following the news, right, and you're following these wild claims that are conspiracy, they start with small posts online. Then they get bigger posts. And then it just turns out it's a conspiracy. And then in a couple of years, it turns out, oh, no, it's not a conspiracy. That's a hashtag legit thing. So before we get on to this, guys, make sure you hit those buttons, like, comment, subscribe. I'll turn the chat on like it should be now. So that's where we're going. I'm just going to start with this, guys, okay? Because what I'm talking about is the Air Force veteran from Florida's 13th district who chairs the House Oversight Committee's task force on the declassification of federal secrets. In interviews in her viral appearances on Joe Rogan podcast back in August 2025, I know this is a little bit old, guys, she was, which have resurfaced really big time among the current news, she shared her own experience, her own first-hand brush with the unknown from her time in the Oregon National Guard, in the Air National Guard, as an airfield manager at Portland International Guard Base. She dealt with what she calls as a genuine airspace incursion, an unidentified object breaching restricted airspace. Fighters were scrambled, F-15s, F-16s, but they couldn't explain or catch it. The thing moved in ways no conventional aircraft could. When she pushed up the chain, nobody wanted to touch it. She concluded that it was a real UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomenon or something. It's basically a UFO, right? That's the new term for UFOs. I think I'm just going to use UFOs, guys. I grew up in the 90s. They're UFOs, right? Now, again, I don't mean to be a debunker. I've not seen any evidence, guys. I've not seen any evidence that I believe is the smoking gun. I've seen circumstantial evidence. I've seen contributing evidence. I've seen complementary evidence. I've not seen anything that I can say indefinitely, yes, that shit's from another planet, right? The best example I can give of shit from another planet is crop circles. And I always say that, nobody cares about them. They're just discarded in the United Kingdom. But I think if you want a solution, it's in crop circles. All right, whatever. But that's just the personal bit. The real jaw dropper, the lady Luna, that's her surname, says she's been briefed in a secure location, one of those classified rooms where lawmakers get to listen to the sensitive stuff. And she's seen photographic evidence of things not created by mankind. That's what she said, guys. Not created by mankind. So what does that mean? What does that mean, not created by mankind? It doesn't mean aliens. It means this could be... hang on. So that phrase, not created by mankind. Now, clearly, that means not us, right? It could be a civilization that predates mankind. It could be, it could be the Atlanteans. It could be all sorts of crazy stuff. Remember, not created by mankind doesn't mean aliens, although it does definitely suggest it, right? So she's saying objects that were exhibiting movements that defy our physics. Remember what I've been saying, guys, right? If the aliens have come here in little tin cans, they're clearly working, they're clearly working outside of known physics. If they are working outside of known physics, what does that mean for humans? What does that mean for energy? What does that mean for the progression of humanity, right? So what she was saying as well, is they were operating outside of space and time. And again, these phrases, guys, I don't know if these are catchphrases. I don't know if this is fake information. I don't know if she's being given fake information to spread to people to cause, people to think that all sorts of crazy stuff's happening. I don't know. All I can do is tell you that this stuff's hitting mainstream now. And if we're talking about things that are operated outside of space and time, that clearly means in alternate dimensions, right? Anyway, credible pilots and whistleblowers she's spoken to allegedly repeatedly described these as interdimensional beings. This is wild, guys. And this is out there in the mainstream. I'm not making this up now as some sort of conspiracy. This is on the mainstream route. Imagine that. Imagine 10 years ago, right, a congresswoman saying that she's seen aircraft that are operating outside of space and time and are interdimensional. 10 years ago, she would have been laughed off the stage and she wouldn't get elected again. Turns out these people are now being pushed, promoted, and given a lot of airtime. So we're talking not your classic little green men zipping from another star system, but entities or non-human intelligences that slip through dimensions, bending reality as we know it. She hasn't personally witnessed these portals cracking open or full-on alien ships landing. She's careful to say that. But based on the photos, historical accounts, and what military folks have told her, she's very confident these interdimensional phenomena are real. That's a hard sell, guys. That is a hard sell, right? But look, this is what's coming out into the mainstream. So I need to be quite clear. I'm 50-50, right? I'm 50-50. This is the mainstream now. This is your new mainstream, right? These are not fringe, these are not fringe speculation by some, half-baked politician. Luna's in a position of real oversight and real power, pushing allegedly for hard transparency, protecting whistleblowers and forcing more declassification. She even tied it to bigger questions, hinting ancient text or removed biblical books that might touch on these topics. Now, if you guys understand, this is why I struggle with the Bible, guys. I really struggle with religion and the Bible, because what I say is okay, what version of this are we talking about? There's a shit ton of books taken out of the the Bible that we get given as as 100% gospel truth. The first book in the Bible is the book of Enoch. Now, just for context, Enoch was the scribe of God. He used to be the messenger of God. He was human. He was then taken by the gods and he turned into Metatron. Yeah, no, I'm not making that up, guys. This is biblical context, right? They turned that motherfucker into Metatron. No, he's not a transformer. That's his name, Metatron. Now, if you look what Metatron is, if you look at Metatron's cube and the interdimensional context of that, it takes you down this path of sacred geometry, ancient texts, and some really wild stuff, and it all links back up to human DNA. It's quite fascinating if you go down that. But that's written in the Book of Enoch. Now, the Book of Enoch is quite dark. The Book of Enoch says that angels or people from above came down and they had children with women, basically. Which is kind of like saying aliens came down and these were like dead horny aliens, right? And Gilgamesh is one of those children. Now, again, this all comes back to the Epstein files, some of the stuff that's been released in the Epstein files, where Hillary Clinton, I'm sure, guys, I've done a video on this. Hillary Clinton is then asking for the release of what she's asking Epstein or something for, she's saying, hey, Jeffo, mate, did you ever get into that Gilgamesh's resurrection chamber or something? I did a video on it, guys. I've done quite a few videos on it. But all this stuff's linking together, right? Now, with Trump's order to release Pentagon files and military files on UFOs, UAPs, non-human biologics, the related intelligence, she's publicly thanking him and saying she's eager to go through the footage and reports with the public. Guys, we are being set up for something here. I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what it is. Again, I know I keep needing to say this because I don't want people to think I've gone bonkers. I don't know whether this is true. I don't. The more information that comes out, and I'm looking at this, I've not seen a smoking gun, right? So the two directions, right? This is either real or it's a psyop. They're the two options, right? And I don't know which one it is. I genuinely don't know which one it is. If it's a psyop, it's probably going to lead to Project Bluebeam. If it's real, it's probably going to lead to an alien invasion. Either way, the outcome's the same, right? I started asking how much it would be to get my garden dug out and get the concrete base put in for a bunker today, literally today. I think he just messaged me back, actually. So for us here in Britain, watching from afar, you know, as our own MOD quietly updates UAP protocols and the American flights keep crossing over European skies with other global intention, this just adds another layer of unease into the mix. It's a slow peel and it's a slow burner. But look how crazy things are right now. This would change everything, guys. Like, if this came out, right, you know, and this evidence did come out, this is going to change everything. And there will naturally be an agenda for that, right? There's naturally going to be an agenda, which I don't know which way it's going to go, but there will be an agenda. Literally. Either way, when a sitting congresswoman with military credentials in a position that would find this information starts talking openly about interdimensional beings breaching our reality, it's hard not to listen, right? That's hard. That sort of stuff is hard not to perk your ears up, right? Interdimensional beings breaching our reality. And that's what they're talking about, guys. And this is an article. Hang on, I'll share this with you guys real quick. So this is the article I was looking at. Florida Congresswoman shares, and I'll put this, I'll put the link to this in the description below. Give me a second. I'll do it right now. Otherwise I'll forget. Copy, paste, edit, right. Save. Right. The link to the article is in the description. That's crazy, guys. And I know that's from last year. I do. And I know things have advanced a little bit since then in the context that it just turns out it's mainstream. But now you have to go back and look at all these other videos, right? You have to go back and look at all these other statements. You have to go back and look at all these other interviews. Because there's a lot of stuff out there now, guys. And it is absolutely crazy. Right. So you can't go down this road. You can't. And this is the one that I have the hardest time considering. So I do. This is literally this is the hardest thing I have to consider, right? So when you're looking at this, the UFOs, the alien updates, all the stuff that's happening, right? The hardest thing for me to digest is this reptilian thing. Literally, the reptilians. That for me is almost a no-goer. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, right, Sean, you can't say, and I'm thinking about my dad, right? I'm thinking about my dad, because you guys can remember when I was talking to you guys and the Epstein files had just been released. And I said to you guys, I said, listen, I said, Dad, have you seen the Epstein files? And he said, oh yeah, they all need sending to jail. I said, yeah, but have you seen the stuff about the aliens? He said, what? I said, have you seen the stuff about the aliens? And my dad says, what do you mean? I said, there's stuff in there about aliens. And my dad just wasn't bothered. He didn't believe it. My dad believed all the stuff in the Epstein files was true, apart from the alien stuff, right? So now I'm thinking of myself. I'm thinking, right, okay, this information's out there about these reptilians, right? So I'm going to approach this. And I'm just going to explain to you guys the reptilian conspiracy. Now, I know this has been done to death on lots of other channels, all right? But I'm going to let you guys know what I would like. Look, guys, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying I have a very hard time believing this, right? Almost ridiculously hard time believing this. I just want to find out more about it, right? So let's just continue, right? So if you guys picture this, right? A race of tall, cold-blooded, reptilian humanoids, scaly skin, purple eyes, horns, maybe even wings, originating from some distant planet. Excuse me. In the Draco constellation, which is home to the star Alpha Draconis, also known as Tuban. In the theory, where the conspiracy theorists go, these beings, often called Dracos or Draconians, or simply the elite tier of reptiles, are the apex predators of an interdimensional, interstellar empire. They're ruthless and driven by the need to dominate and feed on humanity. Now, I am starting to like connect some dots here. I'm starting to connect some dots, but listen, it's far too. I don't have anywhere near the amount of evidence to come out with it yet. Anyway, so the core element goes like this, right? So thousands, maybe even hundreds and thousands of years ago, these Draco-reptilians infiltrated or invaded Earth. Some versions say they came as conquerors from the stars. Others describe them as interdimensional entities, slipping through from another plane of existence, or even native, and they're already in hidden bases on the Earth or on the moon. Once here, they didn't just conquer with ships and armies. No, they mastered shape-shifting. They can appear human at will. Their true form is hidden behind a biological or energetic disguise. Why? To infiltrate and control humanity. So I really struggle with this, guys. And I was watching. I think I shared it with you guys. It was a little snippet of a David Icke video. And he was saying, and look, guys, I'm not saying this, like, I need to be very clear, right? If somebody comes up to me and says something that's absolutely wild, I'm not going to say it's not true. I just want to ask more questions, right? So I want to be clear. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I want to know. I want to have more evidence before I make my mind up. And the evidence is very sketchy, right? At best. Now, again, that's because there's not many of them, right? So if you consider the video I shared with you guys, and I'll just give a quick rerun what happened on that video. So on that video I was sharing with you guys, David Icke was giving an interview, and he was saying he spoke to a woman, and she said she saw the British Prime Minister. I don't know if he was the British Prime Minister at the time or an ex-British Prime Minister, but he was an ex-British Prime Minister, Ted Heath. Now, what this woman says, and again, there's so many questions like surround. So when you're doing something called tactical questioning, right? When you're in the military, right? You get told how to question people tactically. All right. I'm not going to go into it now, but there's a method of asking questions. You ask them direct questions, and you ask them indirect questions that imply the same answer. Now, if those two things cross, absolutely fine. If they diverge, then they're obviously, mistaken, or there's things that are not right. And maybe the person themselves don't know. There were so many questions I wanted to ask. Anyway, as the story goes, right, this woman, she's walking through the woods, like just outside London. And she sees a satanic ring, right? I don't know what a satanic ring is, guys. I don't know what a satanic ring is. A satanic ring of people. And in the middle, right, she saw... he was either the prime minister then, or he was the ex-prime minister, right? But this guy, Ted Heath. And she says she was watching, and this is going to sound wild, and it is, and I struggle to believe this. And he turned into a reptilian, and he grew 2 feet. And then he started talking, but like it was on with a delay, like it was like he was transmitting information from somewhere else to the other people. And honestly, guys, I'm like, I really struggle with this. For me, okay, why was you out walking there in the first place? Do you go there often? How far do you live from that location? Is that a frequent route? Do many people go there? Is there a likelihood of other people going there? Because you think that if there are this race of, reptilians that like humanoid reptilians that can shapeshift, and that's what is basically happening, then you would expect them not to go into public places and reveal themselves, right? Because that you kind of wouldn't want that to happen. So there's so many questions I have on that. And they said that this guy grew 2 feet. And I'm like, right, okay, so he grew. So what happened to his clothes? What was he wearing? Like, what was he wearing? Did they rip? Did he go Hulk? Like, what happened? Like, how did that manifest? There's so many questions I have to this. But as this conspiracy theory goes, guys, with the reptilians, they are shape-shifting. They appear human, hiding their true form behind something like biological or an energetic, or an energetic disguise. Now, according to the most influential voice behind this idea, and there's no denying this, guys, David Icke was the first one to bring this out. Like, nobody can deny that. The reptilians created hybrid bloodlines by interbreeding with early humans. These hybrids became the ruling elite. And then earlier on in the live stream, we were saying, weren't we, that all the royal families across Europe are related, which was like, yeah, you know what, it's hard, Again, I don't know where I go with this. Anyway, they're saying ancient priests, kings, royal dynasties, powerful banking families, these are all part of the same bloodline. Their goal is to dominate. They engineer wars, economic crashes, pandemics, and the fear on a massive scale. Because here's the dark twist, guys. Here's a dark twist. And here's where it gets interesting. They supposedly feed off negative human energy, fear, trauma, hatred, even more lurid accounts talking about blood, adrenochrome harvested through these rituals. Now, I don't know where I go with this, guys, but what I am seeing is that direct travel, that direction of travel, right? They're viewing humanity as livestock. Now, let's just consider this, right? Because this is the reptilian theory. Let's just consider, right? Like I said in a previous video, 2026 UFO disclosure, right? 2026 UFO disclosure, right? Aliens are real. 2027, as Jeremy Corbell's saying, 2027, alien armada's on its way to Earth. Oh, guess what? They're reptilians and they want to suck out our adrenochrome. Right, let's all build spaceships and go and have a space war. I think that's coming. That is definitely on the cards somewhere. So David Icke blends this with ancient myths, serpent gods from Sumeria, the Epic of Gilgamesh, ancient biblical text, all modern sightings of lizard peoples, which are glitches on camera where eyes supposedly flash or skin flickers during broadcasts. I don't know where I go with this, guys. Again, I've not seen any proof. Me personally, I've not seen any proof of this. Now, of course, from the outside, this is firmly, as far as I'm concerned, this is firmly in the realm of fringe conspiracy, right? No verifiable evidence from science or anything, or any credible intelligence sources have ever supported it, right? However, right? If somebody keeps saying wild stuff and then that wild stuff keeps coming true, the wild stuff, you've kind of got to look at it with a different idea, right? With a different, you've got to look at this stuff differently now, right? Because if all that stuff's happening and it's coming real and, we can see that now. We can see the satanic cults, right? There's a lot of evidence for that right now, pizzas and stuff. Aliens, UFOs, interdimensional beings. We literally have sitting US congresswomen now talking about this. Turns out that's real as well. So as that Overton window expands, are we really going to go down this road of reptilians, guys? Are we really going down this road? It's a wild. And listen, what I do know is this is an absolute wild time to be alive. Right, let me jump on and get some questions on the chat, guys. John is saying the truth is out there. We are not alone. I don't think we're alone, guys. I don't think we're alone. I really don't. We are talking about aliens and UFO updates. My theory is the outcome's going to be the same. So this is my theory of what's going to happen, right? And I don't know if it's real or fake, right? But this is what I think is going to happen. This year, we are going to get a huge data drop on UFOs. And then it's just going to be the Overton window of, yeah, aliens are real, right? So now we've got the 2 data drops, right? We've got the Epstein files that let people understand that, you know, people do stuff, use this thing called adrenochrome, right? And you know how that's harvested. So that's the, you know, then aliens, right? So we've got those 2 data drops, right? 2026, that's done. Next year, 2027, aliens are on their way. It's aliens and they are on the asteroid Apophis, or they are hiding behind Apophis. They are slowly making their way to Earth, and they are going to be here in 2029. That's when they're coming. We've got 2 years to prepare. That's what I think is going to happen, guys. And then I think we're going to be told that they're coming for our, you know, to harvest us. That's what I think. Now, whether it's real or whether it's fake, I don't know. I genuinely see a direction of travel towards that. Just the Poet is saying, with how tall Baron Trump is, I think the Trumps are the Nephilim, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, he's massive, isn't he? Baron Trump's huge. He's like 6'7" or something. He's a big one. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are on right now and you've not done so already, please hit those buttons down below, down below. The like, follow, comment, subscribe, all those things, guys. Really helps me out. David is saying, need to look at the boogosphere. The boogosphere is wild, guys. I've looked a lot at the boogosphere, and it's crazy. Need to look at the boogosphere that landed in Colombia, near the Argentinian border, South America, landing early with that flawless surface and no burn. Yeah. So the boogosphere, Booga is the town it landed in, right? It's this sphere that just, like, it's somewhere in South America, and it's got all these strange markings on it. Nobody knows what it is, and it was transmitting something. Now, it was transmitting something. Now, you could tie this all in, couldn't you? You could say that the boogosphere was an early probe, right? As humans do all the time, we send out probes. My question with that is, if you are going to send out probes, you wouldn't put any markings on it, right? Like, you wouldn't put any markings on a military probe. Caveman is saying, remember what Bob Lazar said? They took a thick part out of religion to hide it from us. We are nothing but vessels. Yeah, I talked about this yesterday, guys. Bob Lazar in his interview. So Bob Lazar is like, he's one of the more credible UFO whistleblowers, right? And Bob Lazar said that when he went in to get his debriefing or whatever it was, when he was working on these reverse engineered aircraft, he said there was a really thick book on religion, and he had to read it. And what he said from reading that book was that aliens see humans as containers, nothing more, just containers. Now, obviously, I've done a lot of translations, and I've done, I get documents sent all the time, and I have to translate them from Russian to English, and I'm always going back and forwards with words. My bean can, right, is a container, and it's the beans inside it that I want, right? You guys know where I'm going. So I do think that all this information, if you put it all together, the most likely outcome, if you take all the information and put it together, the most likely outcome is that humans are going to be harvested. So I'm saying now, you might as well want to, you might want to get ready. Band again is saying the Ethiopian Bible has nothing taken out. Yeah, so there's the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible is there's like 17 extra books in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, which I think is wild. I think it's absolutely insane. Also, I don't know if you guys know that the Ark of the Covenant is supposed to be in Ethiopia. That's where it's supposed to be. Lots of people are saying that. Cherry is saying material existence is rare and precious to them. Somehow, what we have is very useful for them and they'll fight over it. Right, listen, I'm putting all this together with this adrenochrome, right? That's what I'm putting it all together. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on, make sure you hit those buttons down below. Watchman saying second stream. 88 books. No. Band again. Are you, hang on a minute. Band again. Are you saying that there are 88 extra books? Right, let me Google this. Sorry, guys, give me a second. How many extra books are there in I've spelled Ethiopia. 81! No, that's not right. Gee, by the beard of Zeus and Odin's eye. Right, let me share this with you guys. This is huge. This is massive. Thank you for that, Band Again. So Band Again has just put me on to something. I thought there was only 17 extra books. So the Ethiopian... so can you guys see that? So the Ethiopian Bible... I don't know if you guys can read that. I'll read it. Read it. Say it with me. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church Bible contains 81 books. Right. Sorry. No. Sorry. Contains 81 books, which is generally 15 more. So we was both wrong. Which is generally 15 more books than the Catholic Bible, 73, and 22 books more than the Protestant Bible, 66. Known as the broader canon, it is considered the most complete Bible, including unique Old Testament books like the Book of Enoch, Jubilees, alongside additional New Testament books regarding church orders. That's the book I want to read. Absolutely, guys. That is the book I want to read. If I was going to read any Bible, like front to back, why would you read why would you read the Catholic Bible that's missing 15 books, or the Protestant Bible, which is missing 22 books? It goes back to what I've previously said, right? When we talk about, listen, who's just been arrested in the United Kingdom? Some bishops just been arrested in the United Kingdom for, the thing that bishops do to boys, allegedly, because, allegedly from mainstream media. So I really struggle with all this Bible stuff, but I would be fascinated to read front to back the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, which has 15 more books than the Catholic Bible and is considered to be the most complete version of the Bible in existence. That's wild. What are they hiding? Why have they taken them out? BB of BFD saying Graham Hancock rabbit hole coming soon. Band Again is saying Rome took out stuff that said you don't need to go to church to get to God. Scorpio Warrior is saying, I work with migratory water flow. I don't know what that is. Can you give me more context on that, please, Scorpion Warrior? I work with migratory water flow. They are all psychic reptilians, literally. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Christendom Defender is saying Christendom is older than you know. It's all gone wrong is saying adrenochrome, yes. but they still didn't get what they wanted. It's not our DNA, it's our aura. Something nobody has ever understood. What does that mean? It's all gone wrong. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What do you mean aura? I don't know what that means. And Caveman with a peculiar thumbnail is saying, well, then if all the stories are true, then they need to start finding that damn weapon underneath the Sphinx to eliminate the spacecraft coming. Sean, look, it's all gone wrong's comment. Right, didn't I just do it's all gone wrong? Oh, Sean, pretty please look up Brazilian Prime Minister speaking. It's absolute. Is that happening right now? Give me a second. What's he speaking about? Is he speaking about aliens? Can somebody give me a link? Is he live now, guys? I don't know what he's talking. Hang on. All right, let me try and find this on X. Right, I think I've got it. Here. Right, I can't. Right, it's in a line. Right, can you give me more context? It's all gone wrong. No, it's not live. It will be a clip. Right, can you tell me what the clip is? And what he's talking about, and I'll try and find it. It's all gone wrong. Can you try and give me some did he speak today? Brazilian speech. Right, I think no, that's in 23. I can't find, guys, you're gonna have to give me, right, I can't, yeah, there's loads of Brazilian Prime Minister president speeches. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to that, guys. I've literally just been looking for it, and I don't want to, I don't want to keep looking at that if I can't find it straight away. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, we have been going down the gravy train. We have been going down the rabbit hole of aliens, UFOs, and when you start looking at this, you come to three. Three very distinct. I'll come on to that comment. Bounty Hunter Bear, I'll come on to this comment in a second. You come on to three very distinct areas, right? You come on to the Satanists, right? You can't not take these out because these things are being revealed at the same time. Non-human intelligence. Now, I don't know what that means, whether that is transdimensional, whether they're operating on another reality, whether they're operating beyond space and time. They're not my words, guys. They are the words of House representatives and sitting members of Congress. And also, you cannot not see the reptilians, guys, because these things are out there. Now, these are more and more difficult to... These things become increasingly difficult to digest. But once you start digesting one, right? So Release the Epstein files. All right. What has releasing the Epstein files done? Well, it's opened the Overton window, right? Because people are talking about this wild stuff now. They're talking about this ritualistic pizza eating. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And then the next thing that's going to be released is the UFOs. And I'm seeing that direction of travel, guys. I really am. Right. Bounty Hunting Bear, says they want Soul to use the aura biofield body electric system to power and control their version of the internet. Really? Really? While locking your consciousness in a computer. That is a wild one, guys. Right, let me just try it. I can't cut and paste that. Can I cut and paste that? No, I can't cut and paste this. Right, I'm not going to remember that. I'd have to look, but I'd have to come back to that. Scorpio Warrior is saying, when are the UFO files being released? I don't know when they're... Hang on, guys. Give me a second. I don't know when they're being released. I would speculate look, if you're looking at the... Okay, so let's work backwards, okay? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, when I do this stuff, I always go to my default setting, which is military planning, right? So for those of you guys who don't know, I'm ex-military, right? So I always go back to my default setting, which is military planning. So when I'm doing anything, I always look at this from a military planning point of view. So for me, the hard timing, you always have to work on the hard timing. So a hard timing will be something that can't change. So normally in the military, that will be H hour, right? Okay. We are going to attack grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at 0530 hours in the morning. That's when the artillery started. We need to be in place for them, right? That's a hard timing. You need to make that timing. So you work backwards from that. So for me, the hard timing that we have all been given is the arrival of the asteroid Apophis, which is due to be here Friday, the 13th of April, 2029. I'm not making these dates up, guys. That's when we're told, right? So if you work backwards from that, the UFO disclosure needs to happen this year, and it needs to happen soon, right? Because people need to expand their Overton window and get ready for the next bombshell. And the next bombshell, I think, will be round about early 2027, which will be, you know this asteroid Apophis? Yeah, there's blood-sucking alien reptilians on their way here. Now, until I see one, guys, and even if I see one, I'm still not going to believe it, right? I'm still not going to believe it because of AI and everything. Stop the bags are saying DC. Direct current? I don't know what that means. Christendom Defender is saying this end is not yet. And I agree, the end is not yet. The end is not yet. Hang on a minute. Are you saying that humans have a MAC address? Right. It's all gone wrong. Are you saying humans have a MAC address? Right, guys, listen, for those of you guys who don't know, a MAC address is a media access code, and every device has their own, your mobile phone, anything that connects to the internet, right, has a MAC address. So your media access code... Okay, so your media access code, basically, your MAC address, it's always trying to find Wi-Fi, right? So if you walk through a shopping center, right, this is a good way to visualize it, right? If you walk through a shopping center, your phone is always trying to find that MAC address, right? The internet. So your phone will be squawking out. It will be saying, hey, I am MAC address Raven 123456. I am getting this router, the router ABC 123456, at this signal. So it becomes very easy to track people with their phones and with their electronic devices. You can do a whole host of stuff if you've got somebody's MAC address. Do humans have a MAC? I'm struggling with this, guys. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying it's not right. I'm just saying that's another one. I think I struggle with that more than the reptilians, to be honest. Sean, yes, Sean, look up human augmentation on your government website. Right, I'm going to have to do that another time because I'm conscious of the time. The time is ticking, ladies and gentlemen. Paul J is saying nanotechnology, self-assembling microchips, chemtrails, nanodust, vaccines. Just the poet, and I don't know what his thumbnail is. It's like, it's somebody's face. He's saying maybe the M-Palm people are going to choke slam all of these aliens. What's the M-Palm people? I know M people. They were like a band in the 90s. I don't know what the M-Palm people is. Helen is asking a phenomenal question here. Now, what's that guy? What's that doctor? You know the doctor with the glasses and the bald head? What's his name? He does those online videos. Somebody help me out. He's on YouTube. Doctor... I can't. Anyway, there's this doctor basically. There's this doctor, and he's online. And you know, he's a legit doctor, and he started off in 2019 talking about what was happening, and he's gone through an absolute transformation. When he started talking about everything, saying, "Yeah, look, this is how things," and he's explaining things and breaking it down for you. One of the things he was saying is. He doesn't know, like in response to what you're saying, Helen, he doesn't know what was in them. Like one of the very suspicious things about these were it had to be kept, they had to be kept cold. Debbie Doobs, I do read posts. It's just like when they're running up really quickly, I can't get them. I can't get them all. Yes, Dr. John Campbell. Thank you, Missy. Missy is God. Oh, Millsy. Sorry, Millsy, not Missy. Thank you, Millsy is God. And I'm sure you are a godlike feature. Yeah, so thank you, Debbie Doobs, as well. Dr. John Campbell. So this guy, go and search his videos, guys. Dr. John Campbell. He's got some very serious questions about what was in that thing. And what that's done, really, that's given people a massive hesitancy, right? That was giving people a massive... Yes, he was. Debbie Doobs. And you've watched this guy's transition from looking at the data, analyzing the data, and saying, you know, we're looking at the data and we're saying, right, what I'm seeing from the data is not real. And this is what happens. All the data that you, like, honestly, all the data for all these conspiracies, right, is out there in front of you. It's all there. You guys you just need to know what to look for, right? So, like I started this channel, and when I started my other channels, you know, I started by doing military analysis because for me, doing military analysis and saying where the tanks are going to go and when the airstrikes are going to go in and what giving Ukraine is going to achieve, normally nothing. Now, all that information is out there, and I can back that up because I know where to look. So I've been thinking, right, okay, is all the other information out there? And as Debbie Doovers is saying, you know, this guy, Dr. John Campbell, go and watch his channel, guys. He's fantastic. He is. He's absolutely fantastic. He's been looking at a lot of this evidence, and he's been asking some very big questions. And this is what happens when you look at the evidence. Most times people don't look at the evidence, right? People don't look at the evidence and they just let other people make their mind up. Which brings me back onto something called karmatic retribution. So karmatic retribution is if I'm a doctor, and I'm not a doctor, ladies and gentlemen, although I've given plenty of inoculations in my time. If I'm a doctor, right, and I'm sat here and I'm telling people, I'm saying, right, listen, I have an apple, right? I have an apple, right? And this is a magic apple, all right? And it will cure any problems, right? If I'm sat here and I'm a doctor, I had to change that, right? And I'm sat here and I've got, I'm explaining karmatic retribution, right? If I'm sat here and I'm saying, right, I've got a magic apple and this magic apple will cure any of your ailments, right? If you come and take that apple and the apple actually sends you to the candy shop and transcends you to a beam of light, that's on me. I'm the bad person then, right? I'm the bad person, right? If I'm sat here with the apple and saying, this apple will send you to the candy shop, it will have you spending all you got. You keep going till you hit the spot. Whoa! And then you take and you eat the apple. Guess what? That's on you. So now you've got to look at this. You've got to think, right, all this evidence has been released. All the information is out there. So if you still make that decision, well, guess what? That's on you. Oh, hang on a minute. Ralph has sent a $2 super. Thank you, Ralph, for your $2 super. I appreciate all the supers. Ralph, did you put a comment as well? Because I think people in overseas are unable to comment on their supers. Ralph Castle is saying, we are built just like computers. Our brain is the hard drive. Neuralink will install a unit to your brain, install a USB port for software upgrades, and our hearts will run off batteries. One thing about Neuralink that I am suspicious on, guys, right? One massive thing, right? We all love Elon Musk, don't we? Elon Musk's a great guy. You know, he's a great guy. We all love Elon. He's a great guy. Elon's a great guy. His company, Neuralink. So the word Neuralink, if you put that into it's like a Hebrew. So in Hebrew, I think it's Hebrew, or it might be Greek. I don't know what language it is, but I think it's Greek, or it might be Greek, whatever. If you put every letter has a numerical value, right? Every letter has a numerical value. Now, it turns out the numerical value of Neuralink. Can anyone guess what the numerical? In fact, I don't know, guys. Can anyone guess what the numerical value of Neuralink is? Elon Musk's company. Can anyone guess? Yeah, it's 666. So I just struggle with all this stuff, guys. You know, you can't unsee these things. Yeah, you guys are right. You got it. 666. No, Hertzman West has missed the 6 off. So it's difficult. It's difficult to understand. When you see this stuff, right, you can't unsee it. So now, every time I see Elon Musk, I'm thinking, right, okay, Elon, you appear to be a great guy. And I do think he is a good guy. You appear to be a great guy. But your company, Neuralink, you could have taken, let's get Debbie Doobs on. You could have given, had any number, right? Any company name, right? Are we saying coincidentally? Like, are we saying it was just a coincidence that Neuralink is equal to 666? Like, is that a thing? Like, where do we go with that? I don't think it was a coincidence, guys. I really don't. Bounty Hunting Bear is saying tech is already past Neuralink. They don't need to install anything. They are already... Oh, God, I feel sick when you're saying that. Honestly, I feel sick. I feel nauseous. When you're saying that, Bounty Hunting Bear, I feel nauseous, right? They're already under your skin. Biofield, think about your Fitbit. It knows your heartbeat. Yeah, because of like the blood, right? Because of the blood pulsing through. Like, is that not how it works? I've never actually thought. I don't have a Fitbit, but I've got a smartwatch, and I know they work off the same thing. Paul J is saying F off with the 666. Paul, it's right. Hang on. Let me try and get this for you. I did this. Give me a second. Right, I'll do this in real time for you guys. Honestly, give me a sec. I need to find the right website. Give me a second. Right, look, and I don't know whether this is real, but we are going to do this together. We are going to do this together. It's always better doing it together, right? I'm trying to find this website I was on, guys. Just bear with me for a second. Literally. It was like, I think it had like ancient Greek. I think it was Greek. Just talk among yourselves, guys. You know when you're doing a presentation and your slides go wrong? Right, there we are. Right, so let me share. Right, guys, listen. For those of you guys who I've just gone onto it now, and I need to cut and paste something as well. Right, so for those of you guys who are doubting, all right, I'm going to share the screen with you now. Right, totally up to you whether you believe this sort of stuff or not. But just hear me out, guys. Okay, please, just hear me out. All right. So this is the Greek gematria. All right, so you can put a word in there, right? And if you guys look here underneath, I don't know if you guys can see that, but each one of those, each letter you put in basically in Greek gematria, each letter you put in basically has a numerical value, right? So what I'm going to do I'm going to put Neuralink in here. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to put Neuralink in there, right? Right? Are we all happy that that's the correct spelling of Neuralink? I know it is because I had to just go back, I had to go onto their website, right? So we're putting Neuralink into this decoder. So this calculates things into, I think this is like the Hebrew language or what they use or whatever. Now, I'm just going to click calculate. So we are going to calculate now the number of its name. So what's the number of Neuralink's name? Oh, it turns out it's 666. Can you guys see that? So it turns out, like in the Bible, in the Bible when they say you have to calculate the number of his name. In the Bible, it just says about Satan or the devil. It says you need to calculate the number of his name, right? What did we just do? Guys, what did we just do? We just calculated the number of Neuralink's name. And the number is 666. So if you guys want to go with biblical context, right? If you guys want to go with biblical context, the number of its name is 666. I'm just saying. Right, listen, I am going to close this down, guys. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to be back on later on. I'm going to do a prepping video on home defense. Yeah, exactly, Peabody. Peabody's got it. Peabody's hit that nail on the head, ladies and gentlemen. Peabody has been hit that body on the back. The triggered Christian is saying we have all now been made wise. CERN symbol is 666 as well. Look, guys, I'm going to close this down now. I do enjoy these midday updates. I will be back on later on today, guys. I'll be back on at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking about global events. We'll be talking about the war in Ukraine. We'll be talking about the war in the Middle East. We will be talking about the conflicts that are coming to our streets inevitably and the shindiggities that have been happening all over the world. I am going to jump on, guys, and I'm going to do a home defense video. I'm going to do another Prepping 101 video, and I'm going to talk basically about home defense. Anyway, that's for another time. You guys have been fantastic. I'm going to close this down now. Make sure, if you've not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, and you are on, make sure you hit those buttons, a like, comment, subscribe, bell notification down there, because it really helps me out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will bid you good afternoon or whatever time of day it is. I'll see you later.